Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the exquisite, often quite bittersweet world of Oscar Wilde's fairy tales,
Mhm.
specifically his collection, The Happy Prince and Other Tales. We've pulled together a real mix of sources, literary analyses, the original texts, the works,
Yeah.
to really unearth what makes these stories, especially The Happy Prince, so enduring.
And what's really compelling, I think, is how Wilde uses this, well, seemingly simple fairy tale structure,
Right.
but he packs it with incredibly complex themes. Sharp social critiques, too.
So our mission today.
Our mission, yeah, is to kind of extract those surprising insights, about beauty, morality, society, all hidden just beneath the surface.
Beneath the chart.
Exactly. You'll find these are much more than just bedtime stories. They're really thoughtful parables.
Okay, so to really get into that, we have to start with the big one, The Happy Prince. It was published May 1888.
The crown jewel, you could say.
Yeah. Definitely. It sets the stage perfectly. So the story gives us this gilded statue of a prince. Beautiful, admired, high above the city.
But here's the twist. When he was alive, he lived in the Palace of Sanssouci, where sorrow is not allowed to enter, as he says. He admits he only knew a kind of false happiness.
Yeah, just pleasure. But now, as a statue.
Now he sees everything, all the ugliness and all the misery of my city, he says. And even though his heart is made of lead, he cannot choose but weep.
That name, Happy Prince, becomes incredibly ironic right from the start.
Totally. And then this little swallow arrives, heading to Egypt, tired, stops at the prince's feet.
And the prince, now seeing all this suffering.
He begs the swallow, be my messenger, help me help these people.
Right, and he starts sacrificing everything. The ruby from his sword for a poor seamstress and her sick kid,
Then a sapphire eye for a young playwright who's struggling. Then the other eye for a little match girl.
leaving himself completely blind.
Completely. And then finally, he asks the swallow to take the gold leaf covering him, leaf by leaf, and give it to the poor.
And the swallow, it wanted to go to Egypt, didn't it?
It really did. Longing for Egypt.
Yeah.
But it stays out of, well, devotion, love, really.
Yeah.
It sacrifices its migration, its own life, basically, to help the prince.
It's such a poignant part of the story.
It really is. And the ending is just, wow. The prince's lead heart snaps in two when the swallow dies from the cold right there at his feet.
And the city officials, what do?
Oh, they just see a statue that looks shabby now. Useless. So they tear it down.
And they throw away the broken heart and the dead bird.
Yep. Just discard them. Seems totally tragic, right?
Utterly.
But then there's that twist. The source tells us God sees this. He asks an angel, bring me the two most precious things in the city,
And the angel brings...
the leaden heart and the dead bird.
Wow.
And God says, you have rightly chosen. He declares the bird will sing forever in paradise, and the happy prince will praise him in the city of gold.
So it shifts then from just tragedy to something more spiritual.
Exactly. Profound spiritual insight. It completely reframes their sacrifice. It wasn't pointless at all.
Okay, let's talk about Wilde's satirical edge here. Our sources really highlight this. He was a master of using humor, irony.
Oh, absolutely.
Ah.
Sarcasm, ridicule, you name it. And his targets in The Happy Prince are crystal clear. Victorian politics, the superficiality of it all.
And the mayor and the town councilors are just perfect examples, aren't they?
They really are. I mean, after the prince and swallow die these incredibly selfless deaths, what's the mayor's reaction to the dead bird?
Oh, yeah. And here's actually a dead bird at his feet. We really must issue a proclamation that birds are not allowed to die here.
It's just, it perfectly captures that bureaucratic absurdity, that heartlessness. The town clerk even notes how ridiculous it is. It highlights the cruelty, doesn't it?
And they're unquestioning bureaucracy. And then they start arguing.
About who the new statue should be of, each one shouting, of myself. It ends in a large quarrel.
It makes you think, what's Wilde really saying there? Is earthly recognition just futile?
Well, connecting it to the bigger picture, I think it highlights the true ridiculousness, as one source puts it, of the people in charge.
No, vanity.
Their vanity, their total inability to think independently. It's sharp social commentary on his time, that undue trust, that people put in power.
It's definitely a challenge to that kind of thinking.
For sure.
So beyond the characters and the plot, Wilde uses these really potent symbols. They add so much depth.
They really do. Let's start with the lead heart.
Okay.
Initially, it seems to emphasize the superficiality, right? Cold lead beneath the gold. Suggests maybe a lack of feeling,
But then...
But then it won't melt in the furnace. And God chooses it as one of the two most precious things. So its meaning completely flips.
It becomes about inner worth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True inner worth, enduring compassion, love. It's a stark contrast to how society values external appearance. The ultimate inversion, really.
That's powerful. And what about children? They seem important in these stories.
Very. Wilde often uses children and youth as symbols of innocence, of goodness. You see it clearly here.
The prince's compassion goes mainly to them.
Primarily, yes.
Yeah.
The sick boy, the match girl, the other starving children he sees. Their suffering seems particularly poignant for Wilde.
So their well-being is like a benchmark for society.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
A measure of a society's health, its morality. Protecting innocence becomes the highest good.
Okay, so we have inner worth, innocence. What about Egypt? The place the swallow wants to go.
Right, Egypt. Initially, it's pretty clearly a symbol of escape. A warm, idyllic paradise. A break from the cold reality.
But it changes.
It transforms, yeah. The swallow longs for it, but finds its real purpose, its true meaning, by not going, by staying and helping.
So the journey shifts.
Precisely. Its final journey isn't to physical Egypt, but to paradise with the prince's heart. It suggests a higher kind of fulfillment, a spiritual one that transcends, earthly desires. Selflessness brings the true reward.
It's a beautiful metaphor. And this deep dive, of course, isn't just The Happy Prince. It's part of a collection of 5 stories from 1888.
Right. And Wilde had a, shall we say, specific audience in mind, not just kids.
He famously said they were not written for children, but for childlike people from 18 to 80.
Exactly. He chose the fairy tale form, this sort of didactic structure, to explore really adult themes, morality, socioeconomic realities in England at the time.
Which does raise the question, why fairy tales for such heavy topics?
Maybe it's a way to disarm the reader, slip the critique past their defenses, use a familiar form for unfamiliar, maybe uncomfortable ideas.
Interesting. And there's that comparison to Hans Christian Andersen. The Happy Prince even seems to nod to The Little Match Girl.
It does. There's a clear tribute. But there's a key difference our sources point out.
Which is?
Well, Andersen's characters often suffer, yes, but it's usually to earn their virtue. There's often a clearer moral reward within the story's logic. Wilde's tales, though, are often described as undeniably melancholic.
Yeah.
And the suffering, sometimes it seems like it's for nothing, at least in earthly terms.
Like the nightingale in that story. Or the rocket.
Exactly. The nightingale sacrifices her life for a red rose, and it's just tossed aside. The remarkable rocket explodes, thinking everyone's watching, but no one is. It's bleak sometimes.
Which led some critics back then to call them bitter satire, even morally corrupt.
Because they didn't always provide that neat happily ever after.
Yeah.
They didn't always show virtue being rewarded in a conventional way.
So definitely not just whimsical bedtime stories. They were sharp critiques, beautifully written, but sharp.
Absolutely. And you see these concerns echoed in the other tales in the collection, too.
Right, like The Selfish Giant. That one feels a bit more hopeful, maybe.
It does show a similar transformation. The giant is selfish. His garden is stuck in winter. He opens his heart to the children.
And spring comes back.
Exactly. And there's that little boy who seems like a Christ figure, who eventually leads the giant to paradise after he learns selflessness. It echoes the redemption in The Happy Prince, actually. A counterpoint to suffering being for nothing.
Okay, but then you have The Devoted Friend and The Remarkable Rocket. They seem much more cutting.
Oh, definitely. The Devoted Friend is just brutal satire on false friendship. Hugh the Miller is awful.
He completely exploits poor Hans.
Under the guise of being a good friend, constantly asking for things, giving nothing back, leads to Hans's death. And the Miller, he just complains about the inconvenience. It's chilling.
Wow. And The Remarkable Rocket.
Pure satire on vanity and just complete lack of self-awareness. The rocket thinks he's the center of the universe, boasts constantly, weeps over things that haven't even happened.
Believes everyone is just fascinated by him.
And in the end, he goes off, nobody hears him, he fizzles out. It's a hilarious, but also quite pointed, look at delusion versus reality.
So bringing this all together, what's the takeaway for you listening in? Wilde's fairy tales, even now, over a century later.
They still offer these incredibly profound insights, don't they? Into human nature, into society's flaws, and into what virtues like compassion and sacrifice really mean.
They really challenge us, I think, to look past the surface, past appearances.
And to question authority, question what society tells us is valuable, to think about empathy versus just self-interest.
They remind us that real happiness, maybe it isn't found in the gilded palace, but in giving.
Even when the world doesn't notice or reward it immediately.
Yeah, and perhaps that the most truly precious things, they're often not what we expect. Found in unexpected places, unexpected hearts.
Mm-hmm. The lead heart, the dead bird.
So this deep dive leaves us with maybe a final thought to chew on. In our world today, still dealing with so much inequality, so much focus on, well, the superficial.
How do wild satirical mirrors reflect us now?
Yeah. And what precious things might we be overlooking while we're busy chasing what the world tells us is important?